Africa, a continent of mystery, power, and untold stories. Centuries ago, kings and queens traveled across Europe, trading, negotiating, even influencing empires, while their people were bound by borders they didn't choose. Today, a tiny booklet, your passport, can unlock the world or keep you trapped. In 2025, some African nations have passports so strong they allow their citizens to move freely across continents. Others are still fighting for recognition, still shackled by bureaucracy, history, and geopolitics. And here's the kicker: the strongest passport in Africa isn't from the richest country, the most populous, or even the most famous. By the end of this video, you'll be shocked. You might even argue in the comments because some of these choices defy everything you think you know about Africa. Are you ready? Let's count down the top 10 strongest African passports in 2025. And trust me, these stories are unlike anything you've seen on YouTube. 10. Senegal, the trader's legacy. Senegal, not the biggest, not the richest, but one of the strongest passports in West Africa, offering access to over 60 countries without a visa. Here's the secret. During the 19th century, Senegalese traders were moving across Africa and Europe, negotiating deals that many Europeans couldn't imagine an African achieving. Centuries of trade and diplomacy laid a foundation no colonial power could erase. Fast forward to 2025, Senegal's passport reflects that legacy. A Senegalese entrepreneur can now travel freely across Europe and Asia to strike business deals, almost like a modern echo of those traders. And yet, most people overlook this tiny West African nation when thinking about African power. 9. Morocco, the diplomat's shield. Morocco, the land that connects Africa to Europe, rich in spices, history, and secrets. Its passport gives access to over 60 countries visa-free. But there's more to the story. Centuries ago, Moroccan envoys were negotiating with European kings, traveling across courts in Paris, London, and Rome. They didn't just trade goods, they traded influence. This diplomatic mastery survives today in Morocco's passport power. Here's the twist: Morocco was never fully colonized, giving it a rare independence that other African nations didn't enjoy. That freedom allowed it to maintain unique treaties and alliances, giving Moroccan citizens modern travel privileges most Africans only dream of. 8. Kenya, the bridge of continents. Kenya, famous for its wildlife, but its passport strength, allowing access to over 65 countries, has a story most don't know. During British colonial rule, Kenya became a hub connecting East Africa to the world. After independence in 1976, the country's leaders understood the value of mobility. They cultivated partnerships, negotiated visas, and leveraged their diaspora to expand international ties. Here's a cinematic moment. A young Kenyan businesswoman today can attend a tech conference in Berlin one week and a trade summit in Singapore the next, all without a visa. This isn't luck, it's decades of strategic positioning, diplomacy, and resilience. Number 7. Seychelles, the island that outsmarted giants. Seychelles, tiny islands in the Indian Ocean, a passport granting visa-free access to over 140 countries. Incredible for a nation of just under 100,000 people. How did this happen? Its colonial history as a British territory gave it exposure to global trade. After independence in 1976, Seychelles focused on global neutrality, avoiding conflicts and fostering international trust. The cinematic truth: this small nation literally unlocked the globe for its citizens. While big African powers are still negotiating visa agreements, Seychelles quietly holds the key to the world. Number 6. Mauritius, strategy over size. Mauritius, beautiful beaches, sugarcane fields, and a passport that opens doors to over 140 countries. Colonized by the Dutch, French, and British, Mauritius absorbed the best of each empire: governance systems, trade networks, and diplomacy. Independence in 1968 didn't mean isolation, it meant strategy. The secret twist? Mauritius joined the Commonwealth and leveraged its multicultural heritage to build trust abroad. Today, a Mauritian passport is a symbol of clever governance and global respect, a tiny country punching far above its weight. Number 5. South Africa, from isolation to power. South Africa, once a nation whose passport restricted its citizens due to apartheid. Today, it grants access to more than 70 countries. Think about that. A passport that once symbolized exclusion now symbolizes freedom, opportunity, and global acceptance. This transformation wasn't overnight. It took decades of diplomacy, economic restructuring, and reconciliation to turn isolation into mobility. The cinematic irony? South Africa's passport is stronger today than many countries that seemed more connected on paper. Proof that change, when earned, lasts. This is Voices of the Forgotten, where Africa's buried truths rise again. 4. Namibia, the young diplomat. Namibia, vast deserts, wildlife, and a passport that allows visa-free travel to over 70 countries. After German and South African rule, Namibia became independent in 1990. The leaders knew that freedom alone wasn't enough. They needed global recognition. Strong diplomacy meant travel freedom for citizens. Here's the hidden truth. Namibia's passport is a young passport, just decades old, yet it has outpaced nations with centuries of history. It's proof that smart strategy can beat legacy. 3. Botswana. Peace is power. Botswana is famous for diamonds and stability. Its passport opens doors to over 75 countries. In a continent often defined by conflict, Botswana quietly built trust on the global stage. No coups, no civil war, just steady governance. That stability became currency. The world said, "We trust Botswana," and its citizens now enjoy unparalleled travel freedom. Think about it. In Africa, peace isn't just moral, it's tangible power. And in Botswana's case, it's in the passport. 2. Ghana, the legacy of freedom. Ghana, the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence in 1957. Its passport offers visa-free access to over 75 countries. But there's a story few know. Under Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana became a hub of Pan-African diplomacy. Embassies opened worldwide, treaties were signed, and Ghana projected power without armies. Traveling with a Ghanaian passport today is like carrying a piece of history, the legacy of a nation that dared to be free and leverage that freedom into global mobility. And now, the #1 strongest African passport of 2025, Seychelles. Yes, the island nation beats giants like Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya. Why? Because Seychelles mastered a paradox. A tiny nation with few resources, isolated in the Indian Ocean, built trust, neutrality, and diplomacy to access the world. Its citizens can travel to over 150 countries visa-free. The cinematic reveal. A passport no bigger than your palm carries the power of centuries of strategy, foresight, and cunning diplomacy. And most people have never even heard of it. That's the magic of Africa's hidden strength. Africa is full of secrets. Passports tell stories of kings, traders, diplomats, and visionaries. They reveal how history shapes opportunity, how strategy outweighs size, and how mobility can be a form of power. So next time you see a passport, don't think of it as just travel. Think of it as history, negotiation, and untold stories packed into a small booklet. And in 2025, Africa's strongest passports prove one truth. Power is not always obvious, and the smallest nations can hold the biggest keys. Which African passport surprised you the most? Comment below. I guarantee there will be debates. This is Voices of the Forgotten, where Africa's hidden truths rise again.